Do you hate spiders? Most people do. But after you hear this story, you might just feel sorry for them. This is the story of Arachne, the woman who committed the ultimate corporate sin. She was better than her boss. Arachne wasn't a princess or a warrior. She was a working-class girl from a small town. But she had a gift. She could weave fabric so beautiful, so light and so intricate, that people traveled from all over the world just to watch her work. Nymphs would leave their forests just to see her tapestries. She was the Michelangelo of wool. The problem? She knew she was good. When people asked, "Did the goddess Athena teach you?" Arachne said, "No, I taught myself. In fact, I think I'm better than Athena." Now, in Greek mythology, this is called hubris, but in modern terms, it's just called confidence. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and crafts, heard this. She came down disguised as an old woman and gave Arachne a chance to apologize. Arachne doubled down. She challenged the goddess to a weave-off. Athena threw off her disguise and accepted. The contest began. Athena wove a tapestry showing the glory of the gods, full of order and respect. It was perfect technical propaganda. Arachne? She chose a different theme. She wove scenes showing the gods behaving badly. She showed Zeus cheating on his wife, disguised as a bull, a swan, and a shower of gold. She showed the lies, the scandals, and the abuse of power. Here is the crucial part that most history books skip. Arachne's work was flawless. Even Athena, the goddess of weaving, could not find a single mistake in the stitching. Arachne didn't just match the goddess, she outplayed her. Athena couldn't handle the truth, and she definitely couldn't handle losing. In a fit of divine rage, which is just a fancy word for being a sore loser, Athena ripped Arachne's masterpiece to shreds. Then she picked up a wooden shuttle and beat the girl with it. Arachne was humiliated. She tried to hang herself to escape the shame. But Athena wasn't done. She pitied her, but in the cruelest way possible. She said, "You want to hang? Then hang forever." She sprinkled magic juice on Arachne. Her hair fell out. Her nose and ears vanished. Her head shrank. Her fingers turned into long, thin legs. She became the first spider, condemned to weave beautiful webs for eternity, only to have them swept away by humans. The lesson? Never outshine the master, especially if the master is a petty goddess with anger issues. History is written by the winners. In this case, the winner was Odysseus, so we think he's the hero. But let's look at the story of Polyphemus, the Cyclops, from his perspective. It's not a hero story. It's a horror movie about a home invasion. Polyphemus was a simple guy. He was a shepherd. He lived in a cave on a nice island. He didn't bother anyone. He just loved his sheep and making high-quality artisanal cheese. He was the son of Poseidon, but he lived a quiet, rural life. One day, he comes home from work, and what does he find? 12 strangers are in his living room, eating his food without asking. That's Odysseus and his men. Now, under the laws of hospitality, Xenia, you should treat guests well. But these guys broke in. They are burglars. Polyphemus is a giant, so he handles intruders differently. He blocks the door with a massive boulder. He asks them who they are. Odysseus starts talking smoothly, but Polyphemus is angry. So he grabs 2 of the intruders and eats them. Okay, that's brutal. I admit it. He's not a saint. But imagine finding 12 rats in your kitchen. You don't ask them to stay for tea. Odysseus, being the smartest Greek, comes up with a plan. He gets the giant drunk on super strong wine. When Polyphemus passes out, he asks for Odysseus's name. Odysseus says, "My name is nobody." In Greek, Audis. Polyphemus, drunk and happy, says, "Okay, nobody, I will eat you last." Then comes the most gruesome part of the Odyssey. While the giant is sleeping, Odysseus takes a giant olive stake, hardens the tip in the fire, and drives it straight into Polyphemus's only eye. The giant wakes up screaming. He is blind, in agony, stumbling around his own home. He yells to his neighbors, other Cyclopes, Help! Nobody is hurting me. Nobody is killing me. His neighbors think he's crazy or drunk, so they leave. If nobody is hurting you, shut up and go to sleep. It was a brilliant linguistic trap, but absolutely cruel. The next morning, blindly feeling his sheep as they leave the cave, Polyphemus unwittingly lets Odysseus escape. The men were hiding under the sheep. As Odysseus sails away, he can't keep his mouth shut. His ego is too big. He yells back, "Hey, Cyclops. If anyone asks who blinded you, tell them it was me, Odysseus." Big mistake. Polyphemus prays to his dad, Poseidon. "Dad, this guy blinded me. Make sure he never gets home." Poseidon heard him, and that is why it took Odysseus 10 years of suffering to get back to Ithaca. Polyphemus lost his eye, but his curse ruined Odysseus's life. If you've read the Odyssey, you know Scylla. She is the nightmare of the sea, a monster with 6 long necks, 3 rows of teeth, and dogs barking from her waist. She ate 6 of Odysseus's men, but Scylla wasn't born a monster. She was made one. And the person who did it? The famous witch, Circe. Here is the tea. Scylla was originally a gorgeous water nymph. She was beautiful, innocent, and spent her days chilling on the beach. Enter Glaucus. Glaucus was a fisherman who turned into a sea god. He was blue, had a fishtail, and was completely obsessed with Scylla. He stalked her. He proposed to her. Scylla looked at him, a slimy, blue fish man, and said, "Ew, no thanks." And she ran away. Glaucus was heartbroken, but instead of moving on, he went to ask for help. He swam to the island of Aiaia to visit the sorceress Circe. He asked Circe for a love potion to make Scylla fall in love with him. But here is the plot twist. Circe fell in love with Glaucus the moment she saw him. She told him, "Forget that basic girl, Scylla. Look at me. I'm a powerful goddess. Be with me instead." Glaucus, to his credit, was loyal. He said, "No, I only want Scylla." This triggered Circe. She didn't get mad at Glaucus. She got mad at the girl he wanted. It's the classic, "I can't have him, so I'll destroy her" mentality. Circe brewed a horrific poison using magical herbs. She sneaked into the secret pool where Scylla liked to take her daily bath. She poured the poison into the water, chanting dark spells. When Scylla came to bathe, she stepped into the water waist deep. Suddenly, she felt a terrible pain. She looked down and saw hideous, barking dogs attacking her legs. She tried to run, but she couldn't, because the dogs were growing out of her body. Her legs were gone. Her lower half had transformed into a mass of snarling beasts and tentacles. She screamed, but her voice changed into a terrifying yelp. Horrified and ashamed, Scylla fled to a rocky cave opposite a whirlpool, Charybdis. She hid there, full of rage and misery. She hated beauty. She hated men. So whenever a ship passed by, she would snatch 6 sailors, one for each of her new monstrous heads. She wasn't just a monster. She was a victim of divine jealousy lashing out at the world. Parents have used the story of Lamia for centuries to scare children. Be good, or Lamia will come and eat you. But Lamia wasn't born a monster. She was created by the cruelest goddess of them all, Hera. Lamia was the queen of Libya. She was breathtakingly beautiful. So beautiful that Zeus inevitably fell in love with her. They had an affair, and Lamia gave birth to Zeus's children. She was a happy mother. But in Greek mythology, being happy while sleeping with Zeus is a death sentence. Hera found out. And this time, Hera didn't just want to kill Lamia. She wanted to break her soul. Hera kidnapped Lamia's children and killed them right in front of her. Or, in some darker versions, Hera used magic to force Lamia to kill her own children in a fit of madness. When Lamia woke up and saw the blood on her hands, she screamed until her voice broke. But Hera wasn't done. She cursed Lamia with sleeplessness. She made it so Lamia could never close her eyes. Why? So she could never escape the image of her dead children. Even when she was tired, she had to stare at the horror of her loss. Forever. The grief twisted her mind. The insomnia destroyed her humanity. She began to envy other mothers. Why should they have babies when mine are dead? She transformed into a monster, half woman, half snake. She started hunting at night, snatching babies from their cribs and devouring them. She became the thing she hated most, a child killer. Zeus, feeling a little guilty, as usual, gave her one small gift. He couldn't break Hera's curse, but he gave Lamia the ability to remove her own eyes. So, when the pain becomes too much, she can pluck her eyeballs out and put them in a jar. Only then, in total darkness, can she finally rest. So, if you see a beautiful woman wandering in the dark, look at her eyes. If the sockets are empty, run. She is hungry and she is looking for what she lost. We talk a lot about how powerful Zeus is, but there is one chapter in Greek mythology that Zeus definitely wants you to forget. It's the day he lost. The day he was stripped of his power, screaming in a cave, completely helpless. This is the story of Typhon, the father of all monsters. After Zeus defeated the Titans, his grandmother Gaia, Mother Earth, was furious. She thought Zeus was an arrogant tyrant for locking up her children. So, she decided to build a weapon to destroy him. She mingled with Tartarus, the dark abyss, and gave birth to Typhon. Typhon wasn't just a monster. He was a catastrophe. Ancient poets say his head brushed the stars. Instead of fingers, he had 100 dragon heads spitting fire. Instead of legs, he had massive vipers. And he had giant wings that blocked out the sun. When Typhon marched on Mount Olympus, do you know what the brave gods did? Apollo, Ares, Hermes, Aphrodite. They all panicked. They shapeshifted into animals and fled to Egypt to hide. The god of war turned into a fish. Embarrassing. Only Zeus and Athena stood their ground. The battle was apocalyptic. But here is the shocker. In the first round, Typhon won. He wrestled Zeus to the ground, took a sickle, and cut out Zeus's sinews, his tendons, from his hands and feet. Imagine the king of gods, a formless blob of flesh, unable to move, hidden away in a cave. Typhon ruled the cosmos. If it wasn't for Hermes sneaking in like a ninja to steal the tendons back and reattach them, Greek mythology would have ended right there. Zeus recovered, got his thunderbolts back, and launched a counterattack. He eventually buried Typhon under Mount Etna in Italy. But Typhon's legacy lives on. Before he was defeated, he fathered the most famous monsters in history. The Chimera, the Hydra, the Sphinx, Cerberus, they are all his children. And Typhon himself isn't dead. He is just trapped. Every time Mount Etna erupts, that's Typhon, trying to break free for round 2. Everyone knows Cerberus, the giant, terrifying three-headed dog who guards the gates of the underworld. But let me ask you a question. Is he evil? No. He is just doing his job. And honestly, he is the goodest boy in Greek mythology. Cerberus is the son of Typhon, the guy from yesterday's episode, and Echidna. While his siblings went out to terrorize villages, Cerberus got a stable government job. He was hired by Hades to be the bouncer of the underworld. His job description was simple. Keep the dead inside, and keep the living outside. He was loyal, vigilant, and incorruptible. But being a famous dog attracts the wrong kind of attention. Enter Hercules. For his 12th and final labor, Hercules was ordered to kidnap Cerberus. Imagine that. You are sitting at home, guarding your master's house, and a steroid-filled demigod comes in and puts you in a chokehold. Hercules wrestled Cerberus, choked him until he passed out, and dragged him all the way to the surface world. This is the saddest part. Cerberus had lived in the dark his whole life. When Hercules dragged him into the sunlight, it burned his eyes. He was so sick and terrified that he vomited. His poisonous vomit hit the ground and created the deadly plant aconite, wolfsbane. After Hercules showed him off like a trophy, he just dumped him back in hell. Rude. But Cerberus isn't just a brute. He has a soft side. When Orpheus came to the underworld to save his wife, he didn't fight the dog. He played sad music on his lyre. Cerberus, being a sensitive soul, liked the music so much he fell asleep. And in another story, the Sibyl, a prophetess, got past him not by fighting, but by giving him a treat. She threw him a cake soaked in honey and sleep-inducing herbs. Cerberus ate it happily and took a nap. See? He's not a monster. He's just food-motivated. So next time you see a picture of Cerberus, don't be scared. He is just Hades' loyal pet, protecting his home, waiting for someone to give him 3 belly rubs. If you live alone on an island and a ship full of strange, aggressive men shows up, what do you do? If you are Circe, the goddess of sorcery, you invite them in for dinner. And then you turn them into farm animals. Circe is one of the most misunderstood figures in Greek mythology. She was the daughter of the sun god, Helios, but she was born with a strange voice and no divine powers. Or so they thought. She discovered the magic of pharmakeia, using herbs and potions to alter reality. The gods were scared of her power, so they exiled her to the island of Aea. Living alone, she became the master of her own domain. She tamed lions and wolves who acted like house cats around her. Then came Odysseus's crew. These men were rude. They raided her island and acted like they owned the place. So Circe served them wine spiked with a magical potion. Poof, they turned into pigs, not just physically. She revealed their true inner nature, gluttonous, loud, and dirty. She didn't kill them. She just put them in a sty where they belonged. But then came Odysseus. He cheated. The god Hermes gave him a magical herb called moly that made him immune to her magic. When Circe tried to tap him with her wand, he pulled out a sword. Impressed that a man could resist her, Circe made a deal. She turned his men back into humans, mostly, and she and Odysseus became lovers. They lived together for a year. She wasn't a monster who hated men. She was a queen who demanded respect. She even taught Odysseus how to safely travel to the underworld to talk to the dead. Without her instructions, Odysseus would never have made it home. Yes, she has a dark side. Remember Scylla? Circe is the one who turned her into a monster out of jealousy. She is complex. She is dangerous. But she is also the ultimate symbol of female power in a world ruled by men. She doesn't need a hero to save her. She has her wand, her potions, and a garden full of secrets.